From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday greeted our Muslim brothers Eid Mubarak in celebration of Eid al-Adha, or the Feast of Sacrifice. In a social media post, the President said, "In the observance of Eid al-Adha, lessons of sacrifice and unconditional faith should be embraced." The chief executive hopes that this celebration inspire Filipinos to uplift their lives and create a bagong Pilipinas, or new Philippines, rooted in righteousness and peace. President Marcos earlier declared June 17th a regular holiday nationwide to give way to the observance of Eid al-Adha. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin signed Proclamation number 579 declaring the holiday nationwide. The proclamation was issued upon the recommendation of the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, or NCMF, based on the 1445 Hijra Islamic lunar calendar. Under Republic Act 9848, the 10th day of Zul Hijjah, the 12th month of the Islamic calendar, is a national holiday for the observance of Eid al-Adha with a movable date. Eid al-Adha is the second major festival for Muslims after Eid al-Fitr, which is celebrated at the end of Ramadan, the holy month of fasting. It commemorates Prophet Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son as an act of obedience to God's command.
Dateline Malacañang.
As instructed by Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., various government agencies have immediately acted on the repatriation of the remains of the 3 overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, that died in a fire at Al Mangaf in Kuwait. According to an official announcement, Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, have joined forces to mitigate the return of the victims' remains. The deceased OFWs is expected to arrive in the country on Monday, June 17th. OWA Administrator Arnel Ignacio ordered the Kuwait Post to process all of the required documents to speed up the return of the remains of the 3 OFWs. The regional welfare offices of OWA are already in contact with the relatives of the deceased OFWs to provide them immediate assistance and support.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, Bagong Henerasyon Party List Representative Bernadette Herrera extended her extreme gratitude to the United States Navy for saving Filipino crew members on board the MV Tudor that was attacked by Houthi rebels on June 12th at the Gulf of Aden. With the help of multinational naval patrols, they were able to rescue 21 overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs. The Indian Navy also helped in the rescue efforts. Herrera underscored that external threats still remains in the area and needs to be addressed. According to Department of Migrant Workers or DMW Secretary Leo Magpayo, the Filipino seafarers are safe and in good condition. But a Filipino seafarer with the rank of second engineer has not yet been accounted for and has been declared missing when the attack happened. Magpayo said they are in communication with the family of the missing seafarer and assured them that the government is doing whatever it can to find the missing Filipino seafarer. The rescued seafarers will undergo medical examination, and if cleared for travel, they will be immediately flown back to the country.
Dateline Malacañang.
In a related story, the Philippines Department of Migrant Workers or DMW will review the existing right to refuse sailing policy for Filipino seafarers that sail through high-risk areas. According to DMW Secretary Leo Magpayo, this follows after the latest attack of Houthi rebels in Yemen on a ship with Filipino crew members on board. The DMW will study on how to assure the security of sailing Filipino seafarers. According to a DMW report, 3 ships were attacked by Houthi rebels since last year carrying Filipino crew members. These include the galley leader ship, which was attacked in November of 2023, True Confidence ship last March, and the latest, MV Tudor, this June.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos greeted her husband, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., on Father's Day via social media. The First Lady also shared a portrait of their family collaged through the years. The first couple has 3 sons, Senior House Deputy Majority Leader and Ilocos Norte 1st District Representative Sandro, Joseph Simon, and William Vincent. Meanwhile, the First Lady and Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian over the weekend led the distribution of various assistance to residents affected by the eruption of Mount Canlaon in Negros Occidental Province. A total of 1,752 families received 10,000 pesos each in cash assistance for a total of 17.5 million pesos. This is on top of the distribution of food and non-food items. The distribution of assistance was done under the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situation or AICS of the DSWD. From the total beneficiaries, 1,500 were residents of La Castellana, while the remainder are from Bago City.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine House Speaker Martin Romualdez and House Committee on Constitutional Amendments Chair Rufus Rodriguez both extended its appreciation to the G7 countries who continue to support the Philippines amid the rising tensions in the West Philippine Sea. Speaker Romualdez expressed his deepest gratitude to members of G7 and allies in Asia-Pacific and other nations that have made similar statements of support. Romualdez said, "It is time that China stop its aggressive activities in the West Philippine Sea, which is covered by the country's 200-mile Exclusive Economic Zone or EEZ." The speaker particularly mentioned the harassment and threats experienced by Filipino fishermen in Bajo de Masinloc and Ayungin Shoal. Romualdez emphasized that China should abandon Mischief Reef, which is also within the country's EEZ, as stipulated in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, and the 2016 arbitral ruling. House Speaker Romualdez said Beijing should cease its aggression and abandon areas inside the Philippines' 200-mile exclusive economic zone that its forces have occupied and militarized, reclaimed, or seized, adding that China risks isolation and possible sanctions. For his part, Rodriguez said the G7's support shows that the Philippines is winning the battle against China in the international community. No country, Rodriguez said, should experience the aggression that China is doing. G7 is composed of progressive and powerful countries of the United States, Canada, France, Italy, Germany, Japan, and the United Kingdom. On the declaration of G7, they helped change Beijing's plan in the situation at the East and South China Seas by using of force and intimidation, as well as the use of its Coast Guard and maritime militia, and blocking freedom of navigation, as well as using water cannons on Philippine vessels.
Dateline Malacañang.
Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr., over the weekend reported the successful resupply mission to BRP Sierra Madre at the Ayungin Shoal. General Bronner said there were no attempts to take the supplies like what happened recently. Even though Bronner did not give details, he said there were many options that the AFP can choose from to ascertain the successful delivery of much-needed supplies. The general underscored that the AFP will not be phased in undergoing its regular rotation and resupply mission to troops manning the different outposts in the West Philippine Sea. Bronner again ensured the AFP's conviction to uphold the country's rights and protect its territory in the West Philippine Sea.
Dateline Malacañang.
In a related story, the Philippines Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, over the weekend extended assistance to fisherfolk in the West Philippine Sea, or WPS. The assistance was led by the DSWD's field office in Central Luzon, which delivered family food packs, or FFPs, along with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, at the Zambales Sports Complex. Around 100 boxes of FFPs were delivered by the DSWD that was allotted to the towns of San Antonio, San Narciso, Cabangan, and Botolan in Zambales Province. According to the DSWD, the assistance was provided to fishermen who were not able to sail through the WPS due to various reasons, including bad weather. In relation to this, the agency assured to continue providing assistance and will focus on addressing the needs of fisherfolk in the West Philippine Sea.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines formally submitted its claim to the United Nations to register the Extended Continental Shelf, or ECS, of the country in Western Palawan Province in the West Philippine Sea. The submission of claim was done through its Philippine mission in New York last June 14th that aims to ensure the additional area under the country's waters as stipulated in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea or UNCLOS. According to Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA Assistant Secretary Marshal Luis Alferreas, this step shows the maritime entitlement of the Philippines and follows the process of the UNCLOS. Furthermore, this also emphasizes the right of the country to its territory that will benefit the next generation. The submission also underscores that this will not affect neighboring countries to its legitimate ECS claims. Permanent Representative of the Philippines to the United Nations, Ambassador Antonio Lagdameo said that with the submission, this will strengthen its stand on UNCLOS and promote a rules-based international order. The National Mapping and Resource Information Agency or NAMRIA was given recognition for heading the technical working group on the project for its efforts on important data gathering in the past 15 years. This is the second ECS submission of the Philippines, where in 2012 it submitted an additional 135,506 square kilometers of seabed area for the Philippine rice.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radio Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radio Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.